First strike. The Carthage Empire's first mistake was assuming that superior technology meant superior warfare. Their second mistake was attacking Eden 7. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the emergency command bunker, watching the mining colony's atmosphere burn. Orbital bombardment had a terrible beauty to it, streaks of plasma turning the sky into a canvas of apocalyptic colors. The Carthage warships hung in low orbit like massive obsidian arrowheads, their energy weapons systematically destroying Eden 7's surface infrastructure. Status report, she barked, turning away from the viewport. The bunker's command center was a hive of controlled chaos, personnel moving with practiced precision, despite the occasional tremor from nearby impacts. Lieutenant Rodriguez's hands flew over his holographic display. "They've taken out our primary communications array, and most of our surface defenses. But," a tight smile crossed his face, "they haven't found the underground facilities. Plan Hydra is still operational." Chen nodded, allowing herself a grim smile. The Carthage had done exactly what intelligence predicted. They'd assumed Eden 7 was just another remote mining colony, defended by outdated equipment and staffed by civilian contractors. They had no idea they'd just attacked humanity's most sophisticated weapons testing facility. "Time to show them why you don't judge a book by its cover," Chen said. "Execute Plan Hydra. All sections, battle stations." Deep beneath the colony's surface, massive blast doors slid open. In chambers that officially didn't exist on any colonial registry, experimental weapon systems powered up. The Carthages were about to learn that humanity's primitive technology had evolved in ways their arrogant minds hadn't conceived. The first indication something was wrong came when 3 of the Carthage ships suddenly lost power. Their own shields, designed to stop external attacks, did nothing against the quantum-tunneling viruses that had been waiting dormantly in their systems since their last routine trade stop at Proxima Centauri. Multiple enemy vessels experiencing critical systems failure, Rodriguez reported, his voice tight with satisfaction. "They're dropping like flies, Commander." Chen keyed her comm. "All units, Phase 2. Show them what Eden 7 is really about." From concealed silos across the colony's surface, clouds of what appeared to be simple mining drones took flight. The Carthages, still struggling with their disabled ships, barely paid attention to such primitive machines until they started swarming. These weren't ordinary drones. Each one carried a miniaturized quantum field generator, technology the Carthages had dismissed as theoretically impossible for humans to develop. When the swarms reached their targets, they didn't try to breach the enemy's shields through force. Instead, they created overlapping fields that temporarily altered the fundamental physical constants within their area of effect. The results were spectacular. Shields flickered and died. Hull plating that relied on exotic materials suddenly found those materials operating under different physical laws. Weapon systems overloaded as their carefully calibrated containment fields collapsed. "Enemy fleet is in disarray," Rodriguez announced. "They're trying to retreat to a higher orbit, but their drive systems are compromised." Picking up multiple distress calls, Chen activated the colony-wide comm. "This is Commander Chen to all Eden 7 personnel. Initiate Protocol Omega. I repeat, initiate Protocol Omega." Across the colony, hidden weapons platforms emerged from their camouflaged bunkers. But these weren't the conventional mass drivers or missile launchers the Carthages had expected. These were the products of Project Prometheus, hybrid weapons that combined reverse-engineered alien tech with humanity's talent for thinking outside the box. The platforms locked onto the struggling Carthage vessels and fired. Instead of explosive projectiles or energy beams, they launched gravitational lenses, devices that could temporarily focus and redirect the massive gravitational forces generated by Eden 7's heavy metal core. The Carthage ships, already dealing with compromised systems, found themselves caught in artificial gravity wells that threatened to tear them apart. Message from the Carthage flagship, Rodriguez reported. "They're requesting terms of surrender." Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes blazed with fierce pride. "Put them through." The holographic display flickered to life, showing the Carthid fleet commander, a tall, crystalline being whose faceted surface reflected the emergency lights of their failing bridge. Their translated voice carried a mixture of disbelief and fear. "How? How is this possible? Your colony was supposed to be defenseless." "Your first mistake," Chen replied coolly, "was assuming that just because we don't show off our technology, we don't have it. Your second mistake was attacking us. Humanity learned long ago that the best defenses are the ones your enemy doesn't know about until it's too late." The Carthid commander's crystalline surface rippled, their species equivalent of a shudder. "We were told your species was barely out of its technological infancy." "Then let this be a lesson," Chen said. "Humanity doesn't advertise its strengths. We don't need to. We've survived and thrived because we understand something your empire has forgotten. True strength lies not in having the most advanced technology, but in how cleverly you use what you have." She leaned forward, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of human ingenuity and determination. "Now, shall we discuss the terms of your surrender? And more importantly, what message you'll be sending back to your empire about the wisdom of underestimating humanity?" The Carthid commander's only response was a defeated slump of their crystalline shoulders. Above Eden 7, their once mighty fleet hung helpless, trapped by forces they hadn't believed humans could possibly control. It was a scene that would soon become legendary throughout the galaxy, the day a primitive mining colony brought a superior alien force to its knees. And it was only the beginning. As Chen prepared to receive the formal surrender, she knew this was just the first step in a larger conflict. The Carthid Empire wouldn't take this humiliation lying down, but that was fine. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for generations. Now it was time to show the galaxy that underestimating Earth and its colonies was a mistake no one would make twice. "Log this as day 1, Chen told her communications officer. "The real war starts now." The Ghost Fleet. Admiral James Nakamura couldn't help but smile as he walked through the supposedly decommissioned shipyards orbiting Jupiter. Around him, vessels that the rest of the galaxy had written off as obsolete hummed with new life. The Carthids thought they knew everything about human military capabilities. They'd watched our official fleets, studied our registered shipyards, and dismissed us as a minor threat. They had no idea what lurked in the shadows of the solar system. "Status report on the Ghost Fleet, Captain Walsh," he asked, turning to the red-haired officer beside him. 97% operational, Admiral," Walsh replied, her tablet displaying a cascade of readiness reports. "The Carthids' attack on Eden 7 actually worked in our favor. Commander Chen's defense provided invaluable combat data on their shield frequencies and weapon systems. They stopped at an observation window overlooking the main dock. Below them, what appeared to be an ancient Horizon-class destroyer was undergoing its final modifications. To any alien observer, it would look like a relic, the kind of ship museums kept around for historical value. But appearances were deliberately deceiving. "Show me what the old girl can do," Nakamura ordered. Walsh nodded to a nearby technician. The destroyer's outer hull suddenly shifted, panels that looked like rust-streaked metal revealing themselves as next-generation adaptive camouflage. The entire ship seemed to ripple, its apparent deterioration melting away to reveal gleaming surfaces embedded with technologies that weren't supposed to exist. "Beautiful," Nakamura murmured. "How many ships total?" 342 vessels, sir. Everything from corvettes to battlecruisers, all retrofitted with hybrid systems. The Carthids think these ships were scrapped decades ago. Official records show them broken down for parts or converted to orbital habitats." Nakamura watched as more ships powered up throughout the dock, their ancient exteriors concealing humanity's most advanced innovations. And the crews. All volunteers, sir. Many came out of retirement when the call went out. They're the best we have. Officers and enlisted who've spent their careers outsmarting better-armed opponents. They know these old ships inside and out, and they're ready to show the Carthids what humanity's obsolete technology can do. A proximity alert chimed softly. Walsh checked her tablet. "Sir, the Carthid delegation has entered the Jupiter defense perimeter. They're right on schedule for the peace negotiations." "Perfect." Nakamura's smile took on a predatory edge. "They'll be so focused on our official fleet, they won't even think to look for ships that supposedly don't exist anymore." Status of Operation Lazarus. All Ghost Fleet vessels are maintaining position in Jupiter's radiation belts. The magnetic interference masks their energy signatures completely. The moment the Carthids make their move, we'll be ready. Intelligence was certain the upcoming peace conference was a trap. The Carthid Empire, humiliated by their defeat at Eden 7, would never accept such a loss. They were coming with their main battle fleet, hiding behind diplomatic protocols while planning to strike at Earth itself. "Time to brief the fleet commanders," Nakamura said. "Get everyone to Combat Information Center." In the CIC, holographic displays showed the positions of both the approaching Carthid fleet and the hidden Ghost Fleet vessels. Fleet commanders, some attending in person, others via secure quantum link, gathered around the tactical table. "Ladies and gentlemen," Nakamura began, "in 6 hours, the Carthid Empire will attempt to avenge their humiliation at Eden 7. They're bringing 12 battle groups, confident that humanity's known forces can't possibly stand against such overwhelming numbers." He paused, letting his gaze meet each commander's eyes. "They're right about that. Our official fleet wouldn't stand a chance." A ripple of grim chuckles went through the room. "But that's not what they're really going to face. While they've been studying our active duty ships, we've been quietly upgrading our obsolete vessels with technologies they don't know we have. Every Ghost Fleet ship carries systems that combine their arrogant assumptions about our capabilities with innovations they haven't imagined." The tactical display shifted, showing the planned response to the Carthids' inevitable betrayal. The moment they break the peace conference protocols, Ghost Fleet launches. They'll be expecting our ships to fight like we did 20 years ago. Direct engagement, predictable tactics. Instead, they're going to face vessels that can turn their own advanced technology against them. He highlighted specific battle groups. Alpha through Delta squadrons will emerge from Jupiter's radiation belts, using their hybrid drives to appear as system debris until they're in strike range. Echo through Hotel squadrons will use the quantum entanglement cloaking to approach from within the diplomatic fleet's own sensor shadow. The remaining squadrons will execute the Theseus protocol. The commanders leaned forward as the display showed the complex maneuver. The Theseus protocol was perhaps the boldest innovation of the Ghost Fleet, using carefully controlled quantum fields to temporarily phase ships between space-time states, making them virtually invulnerable while they closed with the enemy. "Remember," Nakamura concluded, "every ship in your command represents humanity's greatest strength, our ability to take our opponent's assumptions and turn them into weaknesses. The Carthids think they know exactly what we're capable of. Today, we prove them wrong." As if to punctuate his words, another Ghost Fleet vessel powered up in the dock below, its supposedly obsolete frame housing enough technological surprises to make any Carthid commander question everything they thought they knew about human capabilities. "To your ships," Nakamura ordered. "Let's show the galaxy why you should never judge humanity's strength by what we choose to display." Dismissed. As the commanders dispersed, Walsh approached with a final update. "Sir, Commander Chen's tactical data has been fully integrated into the fleet's combat systems. The Carthids won't be able to use the same shields or weapon configurations they employed at Eden 7. Nakamura nodded, watching as crews made their final preparations throughout the shipyard. In a few hours, the Carthid Empire would learn a harsh lesson about the danger of underestimating humanity. They thought they were springing a trap on a technologically inferior species. Instead, they were about to face the full fury of humanity's hidden strength. Delivered by ships they dismissed as relics and crews they'd assumed were too old or outdated to matter. The real war was about to begin, and humanity's Ghost Fleet was ready to show the galaxy why appearances could be deceiving. Operation Thunderclap. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a training facility few humans even knew existed, Major Diana Patel watched her soldiers prepare for what could be humanity's most audacious operation yet. The massive underwater dome of Training Station Atlantis hummed with activity. Through its reinforced walls, the crushing pressure of the ocean depths served as a constant reminder of the extreme conditions her troops were learning to exploit. Simulation complete, announced the facility's eye. Kill rate against Carthid combat units, 94.2%. Improvement of 3.1% from last run. Patel nodded, watching as her soldiers emerged from their training pods. Each wore a prototype of the Poseidon combat suit, a hybrid of human ingenuity and reversed-engineered Carthid tech. The suits looked deceptively primitive compared to the crystalline armor the aliens favored, but that was exactly the point. General Zhao is here for the demonstration, Major, her XO, Captain Marcus Rivera, reported. Right on schedule. Patel turned to greet the approaching general, who looked suitably impressed by the facility. Major Patel, Zhao said, I understand your teams are ready to demonstrate the Thunderclap protocols. Yes, sir. If you'll follow me to the observation deck. They ascended to a panoramic view of the training arena. Below, 3 squads of Poseidon-equipped soldiers took position around what appeared to be a standard Carthid defense bunker. Begin Phase 1, Patel ordered. The soldiers activated their suits' environmental systems. What the Carthids had never understood about humanity was our ability to adapt to and weaponize hostile environments. Their own troops relied on force fields and energy shields to survive extreme conditions. Humanity had taken a different approach. The Poseidon suits began channeling the enormous pressure of the deep ocean, using it to compress pockets of specialized gas mixture. When released, these compressed bubbles would create devastating shockwaves, all without using a single conventional explosive. Phase 2, execute, Patel commanded. The soldiers moved with practiced precision. Instead of attacking the bunker directly, they positioned themselves at key structural points. Their suits interfaced with the surrounding water, creating localized pressure differentials that would tear apart even the strongest Carthid materials. The key, Patel explained to Zhou, is that we're not fighting against the environment. We're making it fight for us. The Carthids think their technology makes them masters of any battlefield. We're going to show them that Earth's most extreme environments are our allies. The demonstration reached its climax as the soldiers triggered their pressure weapons. The bunker, built to Carthid military specifications, crumpled like paper under the orchestrated assault of weaponized ocean pressure. Impressive, Zhao admitted. And this is just one component of Operation Thunderclap. Yes, sir. We have similar teams training in the Sahara, using sand and heat as weapons. Others in the Arctic, weaponizing extreme cold. Even teams in the upper atmosphere, turning the very air into a weapon. Each environment presents unique challenges that the Carthid standardized approach can't handle. Zhao studied the tactical display showing all of Operation Thunderclap's training sites, and they all work together. That's the beauty of it, sir. While the Ghost Fleet keeps their main forces occupied, our environmental warfare teams will strike at their ground installations. They won't just be fighting our soldiers. They'll be fighting Earth itself. A new alert flashed across the screens. The Carthid peace delegation had just violated the conference protocols, just as intelligence had predicted. Their main fleet was moving to attack Earth. Right on time, Patel murmured. General, request permission to deploy Operation Thunderclap. Zhao nodded grimly. Permission granted, Major. Show them why challenging humanity on our home turf was their biggest mistake. Throughout Earth's most extreme environments, special warfare teams powered up their environmentally adapted combat suits. In the crushing depths, burning deserts, frozen wastes, and thin upper atmosphere, humanity's soldiers prepared to turn nature itself into a weapon. The Carthids were about to learn that true military superiority wasn't about having the best technology. It was about understanding and adapting to your environment. and no species in the galaxy understood Earth's environments better than humanity. Patel watched as her teams launched from Atlantis, rising through the ocean depths like avenging spirits. Above them, the Ghost Fleet would be engaging the Carthid Armada. But the real surprise would come when the aliens tried to land their ground forces. They thought Earth's harsh environments would help them by hampering human resistance. Instead, they were about to face soldiers who had learned to turn every extreme condition into a deadly weapon. All Thunderclap units, execute primary objectives, Patel ordered. Show them what it really means to fight humanity on Earth. Across the planet, special warfare teams acknowledged the order. Operation Thunderclap was underway, and Earth's environments were about to become humanity's deadliest weapons. The Carthids had come expecting to fight a technologically inferior enemy. Instead, they would face the full fury of a species that had learned to harness the very forces of nature, and their precious advanced technology wouldn't save them from the unleashed power of Earth itself. The Silicon Gambit. In a quantum-shielded bunker beneath Silicon Valley, Dr. Maya Patel watched streams of code flow across holographic displays. Around her, the world's most elite cyber warfare team, nicknamed the Ghost in the Machine Division, orchestrated humanity's most sophisticated digital assault. They're so arrogant, she mused, watching Carthid defense systems fall one by one. They thought their quantum encryption was unbreakable. They never considered that we'd find a way to turn their own networks against them. Her second-in-command, Dr. Jack Chen, grinned as another Carthid battleship's systems went dark. They made the classic mistake, assuming technological superiority equals absolute security. The Carthids had built their entire military infrastructure on quantum-based systems they believed were impossibly advanced for humans to comprehend, let alone hack. What they hadn't counted on was humanity's talent for finding unconventional solutions. Status report on Operation Trojan, Maya asked, her fingers dancing across neural interface controls. Phase 1 complete, Jack replied. The virus we planted in their trade networks 6 months ago has spread to 94% of their fleet. They still think it's just routine data packets, standard diagnostic programs that came with their own systems. Maya nodded, remembering the elegant simplicity of their plan. Instead of trying to break the Carthids' quantum encryption head-on, they'd hidden their code inside what appeared to be the aliens' own security updates. Like a digital version of biological mimicry, their viruses had disguised themselves as normal system functions. Launch Phase 2, she ordered. Across thousands of Carthid ships and installations, the hidden code activated. But instead of trying to seize control directly, it did something far more insidious. It introduced subtle errors into their sensor readings, targeting systems, and navigational data. Beautiful, Jack whispered, watching the chaos unfold. Their own systems are telling them everything's normal, but nothing's working quite right. Their targeting is off by microscopic margins. Their sensor readings are slightly delayed. Death by 1,000 cuts, Maya agreed. And the best part? Their diagnostic systems can't detect the problems because we're using their own security protocols to hide our code. On the main display, a representation of the space battle unfolding above Earth showed the devastating effects of their digital warfare. Carthid ships, their targeting thrown off by fractional degrees, were missing their shots at the Ghost Fleet. Their formations, relying on sensor data that was milliseconds out of sync, were falling into disarray. Sir, one of her analysts called out, they're attempting to reboot their core systems. Maya smiled. Just as predicted. Execute Phase 3. The moment the Carthids initiated their emergency reboot, the true nature of humanity's cyber assault was revealed. Their virus hadn't just infected their active systems, it had rewritten their backup data as well. When their ships restored from backup, they loaded an even more compromised version of their operating systems. They're responding exactly as their combat protocols dictate, Jack observed. But those protocols were written assuming they were facing enemies who would attack their systems directly. They never imagined we'd turn their own security measures into weapons. Maya watched as Carthage ship after Carthage ship fell into complete confusion. Some were firing at empty space, their targeting systems showing phantom enemies. Others were responding to non-existent threats, their sensor arrays feeding them false data that perfectly matched their expectations of human attack patterns. "They're trying to switch to manual control," an analyst reported. "Too late," Maya said quietly. "Their crews have spent generations relying on automated systems. They've forgotten how to fight without their technology." The main display showed the battle turning decisively in humanity's favor. The Ghost Fleet, its older ships immune to many of the Carthage cyber attacks, pressed their advantage. Meanwhile, Operation Thunderclap's environmental warfare teams were wreaking havoc on their ground forces, using Earth's extreme conditions in ways their compromised sensors couldn't predict or counter. "Dr. Patel," Jack said suddenly, "they're attempting something new. It looks like they're trying to initiate a complete shutdown of all networked systems. Going dark." Maya's smile widened. "Initiate final phase." As the Carthage fleet attempted to shut down their networks to prevent further infection, they discovered the final layer of humanity's cyber trap. The virus had modified their shutdown protocols. Instead of a clean shutdown, their systems began a cascade of catastrophic failures. "Checkmate," Maya whispered. Throughout the Carthage fleet, ships began losing power, weapons systems overloaded, life support flickered. The mighty armada that had come to conquer Earth was being defeated not by superior firepower, but by lines of code that had turned their own technological superiority into their greatest weakness. "Send word to Admiral Nakamura," Maya ordered. "The Silicon Gambit is complete. Their fleet is digitally blind, deaf, and crippled. The Ghost Fleet can move in for the kill." As she watched the Carthage fleet disintegrate into chaos, Maya reflected on the irony of their situation. They had come to Earth expecting to find a technologically primitive species. Instead, they'd found one that had learned to turn technology itself, even advanced alien technology, into a weapon more devastating than any conventional arms. The battle wasn't over, but its outcome was now certain. The Carthage Empire was about to learn that in warfare, as in evolution, it wasn't the strongest or most advanced who survived. It was those who could adapt, improvise, and turn their enemies' strengths against them. And humanity had just proved they were masters of that art. Victory's price. The orbital space above Earth blazed with the light of dying ships. Admiral Nakamura stood on the bridge of the retrofitted battleship Defiant, watching as the combined efforts of humanity's hidden strengths brought the mighty Carthage Empire to its knees. "Multiple enemy vessels surrendering, sir," Captain Walsh reported. "Their flagship is requesting direct communication." On screen, Nakamura ordered, straightening his uniform. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the Carthage Supreme Commander, their crystalline form clouded with what their species considered signs of distress. Around them, their bridge was in chaos, systems failing as the Ghost Fleet's hybrid weapons and Maya's cyber warfare team continued their relentless assault. "Enough," the Carthage commander's translated voice carried defeat. We yield." Nakamura's expression remained neutral, but his eyes held the weight of victory's true cost. "Transmitting surrender protocols now. Be advised, any further hostile action will be met with the full deployment of our environmental warfare teams." The mention of Operation Thunderclap made the alien commander's crystalline surface ripple with fear. They had already witnessed how humanity had turned Earth's harshest environments into weapons. The thought of facing that on a larger scale was clearly unbearable. "Status report," Nakamura called out as the surrender transmission was confirmed. "Ghost Fleet reporting minimal losses, sir. The element of surprise worked exactly as planned. Operation Thunderclap teams have secured all planetary beachheads. Cyber Warfare Division reports total compromise of enemy command and control systems." Nakamura nodded, but his satisfaction was tempered by sobering reality. "Civilian casualties." Walsh's expression tightened. "The initial Carthage strike hit several population centers before we could fully deploy. Current estimates are at 30,000 dead, twice that injured. The price of victory. Even with all their preparation, they couldn't save everyone. Nakamura made a mental note to ensure every lost civilian's name would be remembered. "Sir," Walsh said quietly, "incoming transmission from Eden 7. Commander Chen is requesting to address the fleet. Put her through to all ships." Sarah Chen's hologram appeared on every vessel in the human fleet. She stood tall, though her uniform showed signs of recent combat. "To all ships of the Ghost Fleet, all soldiers of Operation Thunderclap, and every member of our cyber warfare teams, this is Commander Chen. 7 days ago, the Carthid Empire made the mistake of believing that humanity's apparent technological limitations meant we were weak. Today, we have shown them, and the galaxy, that humanity's greatest strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our ability to adapt, to think differently, and to turn our enemies' assumptions into their downfall." She paused, her next words carrying the weight of history. "But let this victory also serve as a reminder. We won not because we were destined to, but because generations of humans worked in secret, preparing for this day. We won because we understood that true strength lies not in showing off our power, but in knowing when and how to use it." Nakamura watched as surrender signals continued to flood in from the remaining Carthid vessels. On Earth's surface, their ground forces were laying down arms, their advanced weapons useless against humans who had learned to weaponize nature itself. "Begin recovery operations," he ordered. "Priority to civilian areas. And get me a secure channel to Earth's unified command. It's time to discuss terms with the Carthid Empire." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Rescue teams deployed to damaged areas. The Ghost Fleet's true capabilities were finally revealed to the public. The first tentative steps toward a new relationship with the chastened Carthid Empire began. In the aftermath, Nakamura stood in the observation deck of the Defiant, watching Earth rotate below. Commander Chen's words echoed in his mind. This victory wasn't just about military success. It was about proving that humanity's greatest weapon had always been its ability to adapt and innovate. "Sir," Walsh approached with a datapad. "First draft of the peace terms from Unified Command." Nakamura reviewed them thoughtfully. The terms were firm but not vindictive. Humanity had proven its point. There was no need to humiliate the Carthids further. "Add one more condition," he said. "Full disclosure of our capabilities to all spacefaring races. It's time the galaxy understood that judging a species by their apparent level of technology is a dangerous mistake." As the orders went out, Nakamura reflected on the lessons of this brief but decisive war. The Carthids had come expecting to find a primitive species clinging to outdated technology. Instead, they'd found one that had learned to turn their own advanced systems against them, weaponize their planet's hostile environments, and wage warfare in ways their rigid technological superiority couldn't counter. It was a lesson the galaxy wouldn't soon forget. Humanity's strength lay not in the weapons they displayed, but in their infinite capacity to adapt, innovate, and overcome. The price of victory had been high, but the message was clear: underestimate humanity at your own risk. "Send word to all commands," Nakamura ordered. "Operation Ghost Shield is now in effect. Let's make sure no one ever makes the mistake of thinking humanity is an easy target again." As the sun rose over Earth's scared but undefeated surface, a new chapter in human history began. They had faced their first major interstellar war and emerged victorious not through overwhelming force, but through the uniquely human combination of ingenuity, adaptability, and the wisdom to never show all their cards until the perfect moment. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. And that, perhaps, was the greatest victory of all.